Hey, grandparents, let's talk about loving our new version of beauty as we age. Now, this is probably primarily targeted at grandmas, but it may apply to you too, Grandpa. How do you love yourself as you start to change, as you see, those things like wrinkles and gray hairs appearing? It can be a little daunting to see your face changing in the mirror. But I think there are some ways that we can age gracefully and and even find intriguing our face as it develops and our body as it develops into an elder person. I think one of the keys to loving our new version of beauty as we age is really learning to love ourselves. And especially women, most of us struggle with our self-image for decades, if not all of our lives. We have so many commercial messages flung on us as far as how we should look, what our hair should look like, what our bodies should look like, what our fashion should look like, what kind of makeup we should wear. It's an onslaught daily. And through all those messages, we have to sort out who we are, what face do we present to the world. And part of knowing how to respond to all those messages is really just how we feel about ourselves. Do we love ourselves? And I'm not talking about pride. I'm not talking about vanity. I'm just talking about how do we feel about ourselves as a person? Do we have good self-care? Do we have self-respect? If we can cultivate those things, aging isn't nearly as difficult. If our self-worth is based on a youthful look in the mirror, then we're going to be disappointed as we see those changes come about. So I would encourage you to spend some time, just really think about what is your worth as a human being in your own mind. Not what the advertising agencies are telling you, but what is your heart telling you about who you are as a person, your value to others around you, and how you want to reflect that with your physical appearance. You are the only one who can make that choice of what to believe in your heart and your mind. You're the one who can choose to have a positive view of yourself regardless of your physical appearance. Okay? And we've all known people who just no matter what seem to have glowing confidence. Glowing confidence shows up in your appearance even when you have wrinkles and gray hair. So now is the time, if you haven't learned some of these life lessons before, now is the time to really do some really hearty soul searching and self-examination, because you want to go into aging as confidently as possible. Make a long list of what's good about you. What have you accomplished? What are the things about your children and grandchildren that you're proud of that you know you had a part in? What career accomplishments or educational accomplishments have you achieved? What service have you offered in your community as far as, volunteer time? All of those things are a part of who we are, and they're the more important part of who we are than what our appearance in the mirror is. But those internal accomplishments are often reflected in the mirror and what our appearance is like and how we reach out to the world. Do we smile or do we tuck our eyes and try not to make eye contact? Are we bold or are we timid? All of those things come into play. As you're making that list of what's good about you, make a list of weaknesses that you'd like to improve. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Don't bash yourself, okay? No self-bashing. Make just an honest list of, I'd like to improve at doing this, and then set about finding the way to do it. Again, there are lots of self-help books out there. If you decide you want to be a better cook, for example, or be more confident in making friends, There's a book for it, trust me. Get on Amazon, you'll find a book. Just put in your inquiry, how do I make more friends? You'll find books on it or videos. Relate what you learn about yourself to your new version of beauty. You know, I've been saying all along that what we're thinking inside is reflected in our appearance. When you begin to really have confidence in yourself and you are exercising good self-care and you have self-respect, then you look at gray hair and you view it differently. Instead of now being something that is saying, I'm ugly and I'm getting older, my hair is getting gray, it's wiry, it's hard to deal with. Now you're saying, you know what, that gray hair is kind of interesting and different, and it reflects wisdom. You know, it reflects that I've lived a life, I've had experiences, and this change is just one of the many changes that's being reflected as I grow older. The wrinkles, you know, when I look at my face, for example, the places I tend to have wrinkles are the places that show up when I smile or when I laugh. You know, your face bends in certain ways most of your life, and that's the first place to show a wrinkle. And so maybe we begin to view wrinkles like that instead of, oh my goodness, you know, I've got crow's feet. No, I have wrinkles where I've laughed and enjoyed times with my family for many decades. And so I see that wrinkle as not so much a negative reflection, but a positive one of a life lived with joy. See how what we think inside begins to reflect itself differently? I don't need to hide those things from others if I'm confident in why they're there and what life I've lived that led up to having wrinkles or gray hair. Now this one's a little harder. The body aches. I will have to confess, I'm not as thrilled with the body aches that showed up with, or that are showing up with aging. But even they reflect all the things that we've done, all the children that we've carried on our shoulder, all the times we've, you know, lugged stuff around the household to make a home, the times we've moved to be near grandchildren, the times we've traveled and hauled luggage through suitcases, or luggage through airports and across the world. You know, all those life experiences become reflected in our bodies one way or another. And so some of those body aches really reflect a life that was actually lived. We didn't just sit home and do nothing. Make wise choices about loving you. If I had to say here's a bottom line about this particular message, if you learn to love who you are as a person, the reflections of aging in your face and your body won't bother you nearly as much. You'll begin to see them as signs of courage, signs of life, signs of a life well lived, and signs of all the adventures you've had over the course of your life. Be grand, my friends.